Hey, this is a day trade recap. Today is Tuesday, November 2nd. It is election day, and I just got back from voting for my local, the mayor and a couple of city council members. But earlier in the day, I did take some trades. I worked with two stocks today. The first one was SBEA, and I worked with that during pre-market. And this is a good lesson. I want to talk about some real cool tricks you can use on the daily chart. And since I'm going to use the daily chart, let me take a look at the daily chart for this stock. You can see that it did nothing and it was starting to make this really big move. When I first came in, it was already, in this level. So it was above all resistance. At that point, you can drill down to the next time frame to see, well, where can you draw lines? I couldn't draw lines. It hadn't pulled back based on the 4-hour chart. The 2-hour chart was the same way. 1-hour chart wasn't helpful. Well, I did have this, okay? We had this top and bottom right in this level. But I decided to keep going down to my 30-minute chart and looking to see if I could find better levels, and that level actually changed. Along about here, this is the level I was talking about right here, the top and the bottom. But I wasn't sure about that, so I just decided to go with the 1-minute chart and let it show you what you've got here. So this is where we were, and I was looking down here. It came down to VWAP. And when it hit this level, this is when I started to realize, hey, this is going to be resistance. So I watched it here. I watched it here for a long, long time, and I realized, hey, this is resistance. I'm going to put my top click for my target. If you watch my videos, you know how important targets are. I talk a lot about drawing your own targets based on levels that are being established or that have historically been established using your daily chart. Okay, couldn't use the daily chart, couldn't even use like the 4-hour or the 2-hour chart, so I'm just using the 1-minute chart. Okay, and you can see this level, you can see this level. This level was my top click. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back down to the flat area for my bottom click, and that put these other lines on here for my target. So now at this point, now that I have this pretty well defined as, see how flat this is? I mean, clearly that's either going to be resistance if sellers take it down, or it's going to be support if it starts to go up. I get a nice buy signal above this line. Okay, that's the rule. Buy signal above this line, take it to your next target line. Okay, and that's what happened right here. My main signal is this blue arrow right here. This is a blue arrow. And I like to confirm that with what's going on down here. As long as green is above everything, or as long as yellow is not pointing down and red's below everything, this is a valid signal. And so here we are. This was my entry, this green arrow on this candle right here, because I actually had my signal here, but I like to confirm sometimes. And so I'll just make sure that I have a hollow body indicator candle. And yes, I use a dual candle setup here, okay, that I have put together. Oh, this is just so beautiful, this dual candle. Once I'm in, I just use these light green candles that trend along this line because that's my stop loss line. And then I just go to my target, and my rule is get out at my target. Don't try to keep going based on what the candles look like beyond that point, because my targets are going to be dead on. They always are. They're just beautiful. So and if there is continuation, like a bounce in another signal, then I can go to the next line, okay, if it makes sense, right? So here we are back here at my entry, $12.43, because the DMI and everything, it just was good. It was above resistance, right? And I had a lot of range, 12.45 all the way up to this next line of 13.67, well over $1 per share gain on that. And it made it beautifully. You see that? Made it beautifully. Now, the way I draw my lines, right? I know that this space between the yellow and the green is going to be choppy. There's going to be more pullbacks than are what will make you comfortable. But so that's why I get out here. This is like my warning, be careful. This is a really good area to get out and then look for a potential re-entry to the next line if it makes sense, if there's enough range and stuff. So, I did do that. I found this continuation signal. It was flat. And then I had a candle, a nice body, a hollow body candle on my indicator, plus the pricing candle, this darker green, was well above that. And So getting here, plus I had some other signals, right? And all my lines were pointing up. I mean, everything was pretty good. The DMI can be a little confusing, but as long as the yellow line's pointing up, you're going to keep going. Getting in here, so my entry was actually at 1398, and I was just going to go to 1457. So that's really not a big range. And that's all I did for that one, okay? It was really overextended on the 5-minute chart. If you look at the 5-minute chart right there, the DMI was, the ADX was really high. So I decided to leave it alone. We had this crazy push-up candle that I'm sure just really trapped a lot of people because there's a signal there. But also knowing that, you know, you just came through a major target line. These green lines that I draw, these are serious, usually serious resistance. That's a target. You usually have to come down to support, major support, and it bounced off of this 50, and that's where people got trapped. We halted on this candle. This was a halt, and then flush, and then it was done. The stock was so done. It went from, you know, almost $16 all the way down into 11 range. So that you want to use these lines. Get out at your line and then just wait for a decent signal. You don't want to trade right around opening bell because there's a lot of crazy stuff happens there. I like to wait a few minutes till I know for sure what it's going to do. Here, it was crazy. I felt like it was too overextended. And this had, you know, this stock had it coming to it because, I mean, I can't remember. It was over 100, well over 100% or 200%, whatever it was. It was a big gain on the day and it needed to come down. So anyway, that was enough of SBEA. OLB, and it did have news. I wanted to tell you about that. But anyway, OLB. So this was another one that had moved. It was starting to move pre-market. It had made a really big move from doing nothing right here to all the way in 2 candles or 3 candles, nothing in the $4 range, all the way up to 8. So big giant move right there in just a couple of candles, right? And then it just sort of flatlined. That was on, you know, pretty good volume right there. But you know, when a stock does a big move like this, and this was huge news. This was another MasterCard deal cut with a cryptocurrency thing. So right now, crypto's crazy. If you get a MasterCard cutting deals with crypto, saying they're going to process crypto, you know, that's huge, and it's going to run some more. So I was just waiting, and this gave me a nice level to draw my lines. I love it when I get levels like this. I just plopped my initially what I did was I plopped my top line click right here for my targets right at the top of that wick, and then down here. And then since it was giving me some time, it was just kind of flatlining here during the rest of pre-market, because this occurred at 7:15ish, and I thought, well, I'll wait till opening bell and see what it does. It gave me plenty of time to check my daily chart, and this is the trick, okay? When you see information like this on your daily chart, you got to pay attention to it. So I have to zoom out to show this to you. We had a gap, but it was already in the gap area, right? When I first saw it, it was somewhere in, what was the pricing pre-market? Let me look again one more time. Yeah, that was 868. So go back to the daily. So 868 is this line where I drew my, see, and you're in the gap. There's no resistance there. You know that it's going to try to go and fill a gap. You see that? Here's that top wick that I drew my top green line for my targets. So it was just a matter of looking for a buy signal and letting it go to the next level. So this is important, right? I'm looking for an area to draw. Now I saw this is very interesting here. Saw this big wick, right? I drew a line at the top of that wick, but I also noticed that we had a sharp VWAP angle right here. So I wanted to mark that. I'll usually color it the same color as the VWAP, but I dash it so that I know that that's a previous something to do with a VWAP, right? And so that was there. And then I want to know, well, why was that there? So I continue to look to this direction, and I look at this. A ton of congestion. This is a major support and resistance area, and it was very choppy. So I drew a lightly shaded box through there so that that's going to be a chop zone. So that's why I made these notes on here, so that I would, be aware that, hey, you get in this shaded area, it's going to be choppy. And look at this. Was that not choppy? Now, trading in there, you can, but you got to understand that, hey, you're just trading a range and it's going to be spooky scary. Make sure you're getting in at the bottom of that zone and getting out at the top of that zone at the very most, okay? So let me go ahead and talk about my trades. All right, now that you understand how I drew this, because you've got to be able to read a daily chart and all the different time frames, because sometimes the daily chart isn't going to have any answers for you. It's just going to be like, what the heck? It's above everything. I don't get it. So you can drill down, but in this case, the daily chart was perfect for OLB. So again, this made sense on the daily chart, on the minute chart. This target line, which puts the rest of these lines on here for me once I've got this, right? So this made sense. Now I'm just looking for a buy signal, right? Either down at the bottom on a support line, which this yellow line is going to be support along with my EMAs, okay? So I did have a blue arrow signal right here, okay? This was a blue arrow. I have a nice hollow body. I'm just going to go to the next line, okay? And that's what I did. I got in actually right here. This was my entry price at about $7.70. My target was $8.68, so almost $1 a share there. And I was happy with that, okay? I was happy with that. I only go to my lines, right? And look what it did. Did it go up above that? A little, right? A little. But I get out at my line because look, it came back down below. So my lines are good. They may not, be exact. I don't care about getting every penny. I just want to make sure I get out safely and get in safely. Okay, so now we had some other signals along the way. I didn't get in here on this one or this one because my DMI was, my yellow line was kind of pointing down. Wasn't really sure. Red was good, green was good, but yellow was no trend, right? And this had kind of been showing that this level, this green line now is consistent resistance. So I want a signal at this point above that green line because I have two attempts to try to hold that as support and they didn't, right? So now I need a signal above that. And here, this one, and this started to take off. So I got in, let me zoom in so we can see. Here's the pricing I got in on. And now look at my DMI right there. See my yellow line down there is pointing up and it's crossing the red. And, my candles on my chart look good. My indicator, this light green, they're hollow and they're above my stop loss and my pricing is doing well too. So I got in at, $9.37. I'm just going to the next line. And it did. It went, see my red arrow? That was my exit at my line, $11.19. So, I made almost $2 there per share as well. I knew this was going to be a chop zone. I didn't want to get involved in that. Okay. So, getting out here. Now here, I did take another trade on this candle. See my green arrow? Because my DMI, it wasn't the best. I got to tell you what, this was questionable. But I thought, well, I probably can make it to this yellow line. And I got in at, what was my price? $10.33 and 11.20 or 11.17 was, wait, what was it? 11.31. Sorry. To look at my P&L, 11.31. So I did okay there too, but I didn't want to overstay my welcome because I'm in this shaded area, which I knew was guaranteed chop zone because it's going to mimic what it had done previously on the daily chart. It's chop, right? And so if you find a signal at the bottom of this chop zone, you can range trade from the bottom to the top. I didn't dare do that anymore. I had a couple of opportunities, like this one right here. I could have traded here. That would have been probably getting in around 11.52 and getting out at 12.20. So, that's not too bad, but I didn't do that. And then things started to get crazy for this stock. We had a huge rejection candle. Like it went from that almost 12.30 or whatever, no, 12.22 all the way down. Well, in one candle, it went all the way down to like 10.30, so $2 a share in one candle. And I don't think it even halted. I don't remember. I was watching this and I don't remember a halt down. And then it just started its big, huge, it rejected because look how many times it tested that top of that chop zone, right? It did make it to this top target line. I did trade that. I traded from here to here, a little one. That was so scary. I got to tell you what, that was super scary. I went 11.78 to 12.50. So I did okay there, but that was such a doji. I I was lucky to get out alive. I had a pre-sell because I knew this line was here. I had a pre-sell order set and it filled as it was going up to that level really quickly. So I was lucky, but I was lucky. Okay, you don't want to mess with that. When you're dealing with a chop zone, you want to respect that. And if you're going to, take your chances, you may get chopped out. The only way to trade a chop zone is to know where the bottom and the top of that zone is, and then just range trade it precisely at those levels if you have a signal there. Okay. And so that's how this one went. But again, really, it's just a matter of understanding how to read a daily chart and how to read, different time frames to know. This was a good line to draw my targets right here. Clicking up here and down here made sense because it matched my daily chart. That 868 or whatever level it was, go to my daily 868. See, we were in a big void, but if you follow that all the way to the left, where's that level? All the way to the left, look what you're getting into. 868 was where, right here, it's where the yellow 200 EMA kind of flattened out, and here the 50 EMA crisscrossed. So this is why I put my 100, what am I saying? My top click right there, because I try to verify my levels if they make sense. Here was my top click over here. This is this 868, and this is where is it? 868. 868 was in there. Okay. Wait, I gotta go back in here. I lost myself. Anyway, there it is. Okay. So you've got to use your daily chart and understand what you're doing with that. Okay. This was an important level. And this, oh my gosh, this was such an important level that I shaded because it was so congested right here. Okay. That was a top. That was a choppy top. And you're going to see that if price gets there, if price reaches that level, which it did today, it's going to be a choppy top. And that's what we had. Choppy top and then rejection. So, okay, that's all I had for you in this video. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions on how to, set up your charts like this, the tools that I have put together and that I'm using, that I've customized and created kind of, and how I, use everything together to just know how to read a chart and plan my trades perfectly, just let me know. I'd be happy to, walk you through the process and maybe help you find a few stocks that are going every day. Okay. Hope this was helpful. Have a great day, and we will talk soon.